Good morning, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Read Me Live. I am your host, Sharifa Hardy, and I have an incredible show for you today. We're going to talk about being lucky, or is it luck? We don't know. Maybe it's the words that win. My special guest today, Miss Carolyn, is amazing. She was on one of my previous shows when I hosted the Roundtable Talk Show. But now we have a one-on-one opportunity to find out about the words that win. Good morning, Miss Carolyn. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I am so happy to be here with you because your energy is so bright and shiny, especially while we're live early in the morning, early-ish.
Yes.
And I just have my first cup of tea.
Oh, wow. It's early. I don't know where you are, but it's 6 a.m. in California. So for me to be up, I'm like, hey, world. I've been up for 2 hours, though, so don't mind me.
Well, actually, they say that's part of the witching hour where you can do your best meditations and your best manifesting journaling. When the world is quiet, you can tap in to yourself. And lately, I've been so busy that I haven't been able to do that. But I did manage to meditate this morning, and it's something you just have to sit your butt down and do. You don't wait until you feel like it, because you'll never feel like it. It's a little bit of Mel Robbins, her, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. You just do it because she's right. You'll never feel like it. It's like going to the gym. You don't feel like it. You just do it. There's a book out there called, I haven't read it, but the title is perfect. It's called Eat the Frog First.
No, I haven't.
And it means the premise of the book is that you take the task you don't want to do and you do that one first. So you're basically eating the frog first. And then once that task is out of your way for the day, then the day feels lighter because you've done the thing that you think is hard. And I've seen some videos. There's somebody on one of the social platforms, and she says, how long does it actually take? So there's all these jobs she thinks are going to be taking her a long time, and she doesn't want to do them. And then so she times it, and she goes, oh my gosh, I didn't do that for a year, and it only took me 15 minutes. Are you kidding me? Like she had it bigger and more difficult in her mind. And then when she actually did it, it wasn't that hard. So she's encouraging people to, again, eat the frog. So thankfully for me, it is 9. I'm in Eastern time zone, so I got to get up at 7 and meditate and have a cup of coffee and a shower, and now a cup of tea and hanging out with you. But we want to talk about luck, and this is something that even I have learned over the years. There's an expression that I'd rather be prepared and not have an opportunity than have an opportunity and not be prepared. So I think part of luck is putting yourself in the path of potentiality. So the title of my first book was You Can't Win If You Don't Enter.
Yes.
Kind of obvious. But, a lot of people say, well, you're so lucky. You win all that stuff. I'm like, well, what are you entering? And I go, nothing. And I'm like, what?
So you won nothing.
You won nothing. And then they go, well, tell me how you do it. And I list, you get an email address just for entering. And then you go on the sweepstakes site and you have an organizational system. And you spend an hour or so a day entering all these giveaways. And you do this and you do this and you do this. And then, you win so many prizes on average. Like, that's a lot of work. And I go, But I think it's fun. It doesn't feel like work to me. To me,
it doesn't feel like it's a lot of work to me either to enter sweepstakes. And I want to talk about the luck. I want to talk about the sweepstakes. And because you're a pro, I think we're going so fast for so many people. I want to go back. I want to go way, way back to the 2 hours ago, to the beginning of our conversation. And I just want to discuss the meditation for a moment. And you said you got up this morning and you meditated. So the first question for me is, do you meditate on a daily basis? And then the second question is, which brings us into the sweepstakes, is why do people often feel that it's so hard to do these things? Like it's so hard to meditate. I believe that prayers, talking to God, meditation
Mhm.
to God. So you receive these messages, and we have this idea that we can do it wrong and we can get it wrong. So for you, what is the importance, the benefits of meditation in everything you do?
Well, I don't meditate every day, and that's actually something I'm working on myself, because guess what? I'm a fallible human like everybody else on the planet. And I got more into that when there's something called the Silva method. And
Okay.
it's all kind of a thread. Like, this is interesting how you pull a thread. So I started doing sweepstakes books.
Okay.
And there was a woman famous for winning every prize she ever desired, including a fully furnished home. And her name was Helene Hadsell.
Okay.
And my husband bought me her book that was published in 88. And I got the book in about 2006. He found a used copy somewhere
Okay.
because it was out of print. And I devoured that book. And then in 2008, I had a podcast on something called Blog Talk Radio, which doesn't even exist anymore. And you
It
phoned
doesn't?
in.
I didn't even know that. My first show in 2009 was on Blog Talk Radio. I didn't even know
Oh,
they did
yeah.
it.
Well, you remember, because people get mad at me when they hear the audio. They're like, well, you should have adjusted the microphones and that. I'm like, no, you don't understand. We phoned in on landlines to
Yes.
some number.
Yes.
And you just hoped it was okay. Like,
And you
there was
hoped
no
it worked.
adjusting.
I
There was no
remember.
microphones.
I remember back then I did one show because Blog Talk. I'm with you. Blog Talk Radio. It was the beginning, and you have to start somewhere. But I was doing a show, and it just so happened had absolutely nothing to do with me. That when he was campaigning during that time, Barack Obama was being a guest on another Blog Talk Radio show, and that show had so many listens and so many people who tuned in that my poor little show couldn't even connect. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? So yes, it was very limited, but I didn't know it no longer existed.
Yeah, they finally, I think it was either end of last, like it's been the last year, it just finally completely shut down. And because technology has changed, but it was the thing at the time.
It
And
was.
so I had Helene on my show. I interviewed her, and off air I said, can I come visit you? And she said no. She's very brisk in her old age because she was so tired of people asking her. The number one question she used to get was, how do I win the lottery?
Mhm.
And I found a series of her writings on about how to win. And the final one in her mid 80s was, who cares? Life goes on, get over it. Like, she was so fed up with people. I could just picture her. Anyway, she said, your spirit guides are so loud, you better come visit me. So I ended up going down to Texas for 4 days and hanging out with her. And she said, you need to maintain my legacy, because if you don't, nobody's going to do it. Like, she realized at that point her grandchildren weren't interested, and she only had one child still alive. She had two children predecease her. And so she knew if she didn't hand her torch to somebody, it would just fizzle out. And then my life took a turn, and it took me a long time to come out of my dark night. So finally in 2019, I thought, I better do something with, it's been like a decade since she asked me to do it. I better do it before her only son passes away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have no chance. And so I bought all the rights to her works, and I republished them. So there's that long thread. Now, here's the thing. She was also famous for being Jose Silva's assistant. She met him right when he launched his program.
Mm-hmm.
That it was originally called the Silva Mind Control Method. And it has a lot of meditations in it, mm-hmm. and different techniques like mirror of the mind and holographic viewing and different techniques. Like, there's a glass of water technique. So you speak a problem into a glass of water and drink half of it and go to bed. And when you wake up, you drink the other half and know you have the answer. Mm-hmm. And different things like that. Like, mirror the mind is you do one where you see the problem, you swipe it away, then you envision the solution. all kinds of meditations, and you should be meditating every day. And I have not. And because I'm maintaining her legacy, I actually went and took the Silva method, and I've been assisting the Silva method here in Canada. So I feel a little bit like Helene, because she was his, assistant. So he would teach it and she would be there helping him. And I've been doing that here in Canada. So I'm really channeling her. And I know the techniques, but then it comes to the daily. Right. It's like going to yoga. They say the real yoga isn't on the mat in the class. It's off the mat. The real yoga is off the mat. And so it's the same thing. And so one of the things that I've been working on within myself is to get to sit down, because with this season, and there's so many things going on from so many directions with what I'm doing, that yesterday I could feel my nervous system was just out of control. And I was anxious, and I was aware of it. That's the thing. I was the observer. I think in the past, if I was anxious like that, I would be doing all kinds of things and I might be snippy to people, but I could sit back and kind of be up here and say, oh, look, you're nervous. Okay, just breathe. Go get another cup of tea. Just sit down. Okay, we need to meditate. And then I didn't yesterday. So this morning I got up. I'm like, no, you lady are sitting your butt down and you're putting on headphones for 20 minutes. And actually, the music shut off because I felt like I needed some, because the ultimate goal is just to do it silently.
Right.
But the music shut off and I was like, oh, I'm not done yet. So I just sat there. And then I thought, well, don't sit here too long. You have to get ready. For sure.
You got to get ready for the show. You got to get ready for the show. So, Carolyn, I noticed, I think I'm going to have to keep rewinding when I talk to you, because I noticed you slipped some things in there. And I'm like, she thought I didn't catch that. What, my friend, is a husband?
Oh, it's a nicer way to say an ex.
Oh, I figured
like instead of a husband, he was my husband. So he's a husband. I just think it's not as harsh, because we just weren't made for each other. He's not a bad person. He's just not the lid to my pot. Right. So it doesn't make him a bad lid. It just makes him not for me. So I find ex feels hard.
Yes.
And
kind of mean.
Yeah, I like husband because I feel it's softer and just means, oh, he wasn't for me. He wasn't for me. He was my husband.
He was, but right? He's not.
I just think it's better. It's a nicer, softer word. And that's the other thing that I think we need to be cognitive of is our words.
Yes.
And how we talk to ourselves. And I think that actually ties into luck, because I remember being at a sweepstakes convention. Yes, there's actually an annual National Sweepstakes Convention. This year it was in Little Rock, Arkansas. Next year it's going to be in Scottsdale, Arizona. The year after that it's going to Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
But I remember when I was with my husband at one of the very first ones we went to, we were sitting at a table and there was two grumpy ladies at this table. And I'm thinking, first of all, how can you be grumpy in a room with like 800 winners? Like, right. So that I didn't understand. Like everyone was happy and everyone there had won prizes. Like everybody was lucky. You can't get better vibes in a room ever. Anyway, these two were sitting there grumpy and they go, we never win. And my husband and Craig and I looked at each other and went, what? Like, yeah, you were just not going to win. Like, we just knew. They were just exuding it. I'm thinking, how can you in this room sit there and exude not winning energy? Like, I'm a loser energy. I'm thinking, wow, that's how they're talking to themselves. That's how they're talking to themselves. And so one of the things that I'm changing, this is interesting, even like we're humans, we evolve and we grow and we figure things out. In this book, How to Win Cash, Cars, Trips, and More, and the one before it, I had a chapter on attracting luck. So because I found that lucky people tended to do certain activities like share more and have a positive mindset and think they're going to win before they win and things like that. And I realized, because I'm writing the third edition, I'm changing the title of that chapter to Being Lucky. Because I realized you're not attracting luck, you're exuding luck. You have to it's coming from the inside. You create it. Not that you, and then when you put yourself in that path by entering sweepstakes, applying for the job, asking that person out for a date, then, envision yourself, do the techniques that there's so many teachers out there. You put yourself in that path and just watch what comes. It's amazing.
So this is the thing that I think a lot of people say. Now, I'm not going to say I say this, but I hear this a lot. They will say that, oh, you make it sound so easy. Like, it just sounds so easy. And I watch, because I would probably have the same reaction if I was sitting with two grumpy people. I would think, oh my God, like, of course you're not going to win because you're grumpy. Like, of course you're not going to win because you don't expect to win. Of course you're not going to win because you don't believe that you can win. And I know for a fact that it's that mindset shift. It's that shift in your perception. I was talking to a friend the other day who has a new job, and she was really afraid of losing her job because it's a sales position. And she said, I don't know if this is for me because nobody's going to buy it. And I'm like, okay, but if you believe that nobody's going to buy it, then now you've created this self-fulfilling prophecy. And not only have you created the prophecy, but it shows up in your energy. It shows up in the way you approach the sale. If you're already thinking they're not going to buy it, then maybe you don't put that extra effort in. Maybe you don't show them all the benefits of your product. But how do you get someone to make that subtle shift to where their perception of the situation changes?
Well, even I catch myself doing this sometimes because, again, we're fallible humans. But one of the tricks that I learned is which one. So if you're entering a lot of sweepstakes, so I like to do my hobby different than Helene. Helene would focus on one specific prize, enter giveaways for that prize, and win that prize. Like she had a laser focus. But I prefer the shotgun approach. And she said, but you're splitting your energy. And I thought, yeah, but I don't care because for me, this is more fun. So I would rather enter a lot of different giveaways and wonder which one I'm going to win. So I know I'm going to win. I just don't know which one.
Okay.
So I feel lucky and I get to dream. Ooh, that's a trip to Hawaii. That would be cool. Ooh, look at that new car. Oh, I'd love that prize pack. Ooh, look at concert tickets. Oh, look at whatever it is, right? I just think, ooh, that's fun. And then I always wonder, which one am I going to win? So I'm expecting to win, but I don't know which one. So if she, in the sales department, was not sure, she could take the approach of, I wonder which one of the people I'm going to call today are going to buy from me. So she's expecting to sell something. She just doesn't know who. And then it becomes a bit of a game because Helene Hadsell called her book the Name It and Claim It game. And it took me a decade to realize, oh my gosh, it's not in the first part of her title. It's the last word. It's a game.
Yes.
We're supposed to play. We're supposed to have fun. We're supposed to try new things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but it's fun.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, you tried all kinds of different things. You played in the sandbox. You went on the swing set. You rode your bike. You colored with crayons. You tried all kinds of things. And then over time, as you got older, you're like, well, I don't really like the crayon so much, but let me sculpt in that sandbox. And that's what I really love. Or I prefer the bike. These people that grow up and they do the racing, they gravitated to that bike, but they try to everything else first. And then you can narrow it down. It's the same. We need to have that approach as adults. We forget to play and to try things. So that's how I approach it. But it is part of the energy. So even if you think you're lucky, sometimes it doesn't work as well depending on where you are. So I'll give you an example. I had won lots of really amazing things. And then I went through a long divorce. I got to go through that dark night. Woohoo. And yeah, it wasn't so fun. I figured there's nothing life could throw at me that was as hard as that. I'm like, okay, I did the hardest one. I can do anything. And it was hard. I was crying. I got a divorce. We went bankrupt. Like,
Oh.
I nearly lost my business. Like, you name it. I did this.
Mm-hmm.
And so even when I was low, I won some prizes, but not really as much. Like,
Mm-hmm.
a little here, a little there. And I knew in my conscious mind that it was because this was vibrating so low
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't going to pull in the big car and the huge, trip around the world or whatever. Like, I wasn't going to pull that in just because I could feel it. I was conscious of it, even though I'm like, oh, I am so lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still doing the exact same things I was doing before with the entering. I just wasn't pulling it in. And I knew, and I thought, you know what? I actually had this conscious thought. I thought, oh, when I get my vibration up to a certain level, I'll win a trip.
Yes.
Like, come. And sure enough, about how long was I dating George? About a year after I started dating George, I won a trip for 40 Universal Studios. And I went, ha, she's back. I knew I had come up high enough. Like, I had always been winning stuff.
But that's the interesting point.
Biggie.
No, but that's a very interesting point, because you knew it and you felt it. And that's one of the things that I do. I know when I'm in the zone. I think people who are athletic, people who are used to winning, they know when they're in the zone, when they're out of the zone, because I'm in my mode. I'm in that mode in which I succeed. And the beautiful thing, you gave me so much information, and it's confirmation, and I think it's wonderful, and our listeners definitely need to pull this in. But I've always said, and I've always believed, number one, that fun is the key to manifestation, right? Because if you're having fun, you're in that energy of attraction. I also tell people that the only people who believe that life is not a game are the people who are losing. That's just my philosophy. If you are winning, it's a game. You make this move, life is chess, checkers, whatever you want to call it, Monopoly, but it's a game. And so every game has rules. When you learn the rules to the game and how to play the game, because for me, in listening to what you were saying about the submissions, and you have to submit and you have to get the email address, those are the rules to the game. That's how you play the game. But most people are like, oh, I never win. So guess what? They never play the game. The other thing I always say about fun is the key to manifestation. One of the newest things that I've done, and I would definitely love for you to join, is I launched my own Chamber of Commerce. It's called the People's Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. Because I don't know if you've seen any of my recent history over the last probably 5 years, but I ran for city council, Long Beach City Council.
Yes,
and then I ran for Senate. I had about 17,000 people show up to the polls for me. It was a really great experience. Thank you. But I realized a lot of times when we want to go into politics or into government, we forget about the people. We always say we're here to help the people, but at the end of the day, have the people benefited. So I said, you know what? I'm creating the People's Chamber of Commerce. It's free to join. It's free to vend. And we have our first event coming up on January 14th. And so people always ask me, and it's like, Sharifa, you throw some amazing mixers. How do you throw such great mixers? And I always say, because it's fun. My mixers are fun. We have fun. It's not rocket science. So do you feel it's not?
I say that all the time.
That's one of my favorite expressions, and people don't like it. What is their response when you say it, Carolyn?
It depends on what we're talking about, but I think some people get annoyed.
Yes. It's not rocket science. People like to have fun. I mean, we learned that in kindergarten, but I agree. We forget that part. And as we grow up, everybody's like, you got to be serious, Carolyn. Can't play. You got to handle your business. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what? Have some fun. Relax. That's, to me, the energy of winning.
Yeah, it's there's something called the Sanskrit rules to being human. There's the rules to being human, and they were written originally in Sanskrit. And Helene had, I think there was 10 or 12 rules, and she has about 7 in one of her books. She put her own interpretation on them. And basically it's things like you've been given a body, and that's the one you got from day one. It's the one you're going to leave. And like it or not, this is the package. Like, you could be tall, you could be short, you could be female, you could be male, you could have dark hair, you could have light hair, whatever it is, that's the package. And so take care of it. As long as you're breathing, you're learning lessons. So people think, oh, I can hardly wait till I grow up and I can stop going to school. No, school just changes.
The school of life.
The school of life. It changes. So there's all these things. And so I think a lot of people say, well, no, this is how it really is. This is the reality. And I'm thinking, no, that's your reality. That's not my reality.
Right.
You might find it hard. I find it easy. It's not hard for me.
Right.
So I remember that if somebody tries to impose their reality on me, I sometimes even verbally say, no, it's not hard for me. I think it's good. And sometimes they get mad at me.
How could anyone be mad at you? You just laugh and just play.
I don't think they're actually mad at me. I think they're mad at themselves. Because they can't shift out of it. It's really interesting when you get to a certain point in life and you've learned enough that you can look back and see your own patterns that you had to work through. And then you can see those patterns in other people.
Yes.
There's some great books. One of my favorite books is Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Wilman. And she has all the archetypes. And Robert Ohata wrote a book called Transforming Fate into Destiny. And he talks about how those archetypes and patterns work. And when you see them in yourself and others, like in the archetypal dances, it actually allows you to shift how you behave. So sometimes I've caught myself. I did a whole Toastmaster speech on this once called It's Not About the Cranberry Sauce.
Oh, wow.
And we were at Thanksgiving dinner. We had all converged when my grandmother was alive. Couldn't really go out or cook. So we all potlucked. My sister would cook this. My sister-in-law would cook that. I would cook this. My mom would take that. And we'd all converge at my grandmother's. We'd all bring the food, turkey, stuffing, the works, dessert, everything. And then we'd all eat together, and it made it easy. And then she would have her whole family with her. And I love cranberry sauce, and I brought it, and then it got thrown out, and I was so angry. And I remember yelling, and then I could almost hear my little observer voice going, why are you yelling? It's a can of cranberry sauce. It's 99 cents. Right. This is ridiculous. You're a grown woman and you're yelling because someone threw out the cranberry sauce because they didn't like it. And they thought, well, like, as we were cleaning up, and they went, oh, okay, and just chucked it. And you were mad over something that cost $1. And so then I just quickly wrapped it up and thought, okay, this is ridiculous. But the thing is, it wasn't about the cranberry sauce, because when you're with your family, sometimes you're still running those old patterns.
Right.
So when the cranberry sauce got thrown out, it wasn't about the cranberry sauce. It was, hey, what you bring to the table isn't valuable. It's going in the garbage.
Right.
And I quickly realized that. And I took it down. But we basically when we come to family events with the backpack on, with all those things inside that backpack.
Right.
And then sometimes stuff gets pulled out.
No, I just love the hand. The hand.
Yeah, that's my little voice.
That's the.
I've
never seen the hand.
There used to be, when I was a kid, I used to love him. His name is Rolf Harris. Apparently, I'm very sad to discover he was a little bit of a creep, which makes me sad because he was so funny. But he used to have an emu, and he was a ventriloquist, and he would sing songs, and he had this emu that was like this. It was his hand. And then basically my little voice is that it's like an Australian emu.
I love it. It makes the story. That's why you're a winner, because you are just fun to watch. Like, I could just watch you forever. You're so animated. You laugh. You haven't stopped laughing since the show started. and you come up with words that I've never heard before, which is funny because it's something that my daughter and I do all the time. My daughter loves to make up words. She just make us. I'm like, that is not a word. She's like, no, it is. I'm like,
You can. I when I wrote my first book, I wrote out the word contester.
okay.
And if you look at contest ER in the dictionary, it means to contest something, like you're against it. And I'm like, no, people who are entering aren't against anything.
Yes.
But if you look at the word actor and doctor, they all end in TOR,
Correct.
which is like an action. You're acting, you're applying medical treatment. So I'm thinking we're contesting, it's an action. So I spelled it with a TOR. And one of the dictionaries, I submitted the word to all the dictionaries. One of them accepted it.
Oh, wow.
As a word. So you can make up words and have them made official.
I could just hang out with you. You are so much fun. But I love your example with the it's not about the cranberry sauce, because the example that I always use, especially in relationships, is I call it arguing over the toothpaste cap. That's my definition.
It's the same thing.
You know what I mean? It's like people get in these arguments. Oh my God, I can't stand you. I hate you. You left the toothpaste cap off the toothpaste. And you're like, that's a lot for a toothpaste cap. It's that's a lot. But you understand it's about the things, like you said, that were in the bag, the emotions. And it's just that one little thing that sets you off, But I also like to think that it happens in the reverse, because when you talked about your energy, when you win something, or when I am successful at something, when I close a client, when I'm in that energy of closing or sales or building or growing, it tends to just keep going. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I've done one, now another, now another, now another. And so it explodes that way, in a positive way, as opposed to things building up in a negative way. So I just love to be in the energy. I just love to be in the zone, and I love to make things happen. And I'm just talking and talking and talking. I can't wait. Are we ready to see what's in the cards for Carolyn?
Just 1 second. Okay. I have been working on that word. You said, first of all, there's an expression, the best time to make a sale is right after you've made a sale. So yes. You're right. The second thing is, I've been actually watching this word. You said your business explodes. And I keep thinking, but when something explodes, it's usually destructive. And I keep thinking, I'm going to replace that word with the word skyrocket. I want my business to skyrocket.
I like that.
So I've caught myself many times. Oh, this is going to happen and my business will explode, implying that it's just going to get so big. But then I think, no, that's destructive. So I want it to skyrocket, which is positive. So yeah, okay. Go read the cards now.
No, now we've gone in another direction. So what do we need to do? What energy should we be in for skyrocketing?
It's the same energy. We're just changing the word, because it's fun and it's exciting. And one of the things I've been doing is I want to grow my business. Mm-hmm. And there's an expression that Neville Goddard used to teach this, and you have to live in the wish fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And so what I've been doing is acting as if, when people say, well, if I want to be rich, how do I act rich? I don't have any money. But it's not the actual going and spending money you don't have on things you don't need to feel rich, because that'll just make you feel more poor. But what I did was, if my business was 10 times the size, what would I be doing? Well, my accounting wouldn't be behind, for one. I caught up on that. My desk wouldn't be messy. I've been keeping it clear for 2 months. This has never happened. It gets a couple things on it, and I make sure it's clear. And the other thing was, I had some projects that were sitting for a long time because they weren't as fun, like Eat the Frog. And I started working on them and getting them ahead. So I had 2 big projects that sat. One for 5 years, one for 2 years. And I'm going on them. So that's me behaving, because I always kind of thought in the back of my head, if my business skyrockets, and I haven't done these projects, I'm really screwed. Because then when am I going to have time to deal with them?
Right.
Now I notice the energy shift that when I put my accounting, or like I get a invoice, I used to just throw it in a liquor box, like literally just throw it in a liquor box. And now I have folders, I have envelopes, it's all organized. I print it off. I put it where it belongs right away. And the energy shift, when I see that box, it's not of dread anymore. And also, if you treat your money poorly, why would it want to hang around you?
Absolutely. I love that. I think that's an excellent question. For me, what helps me is the belief and the understanding and the knowing that we are all one, that we are all connected. And because we are all connected, there is no separation. So if one person has something, say this person is the richest person in the world, that means I am connected to that person. So also I am wealthy. But then I say, okay, so that money is going to come to me. So what would I do if I had that money right now? Like basically the same thing. Like what steps would I do? What would I do with that money? What do I need that money for? And I just start preparing for that money to come. For me, it's the idea of just keep walking. Like don't stop, just keep moving, keep going. The money is here. The money is here. The money is here. Not it will be here one day. No, it's here. So because it's here, what is it that you need to do to make room for it, to prepare for it? Also, I think about that in the way of a newborn baby, right? Because that's how any idea comes from me. It's a new idea. It's a newborn. But if you were going to have a newborn, what would you do to prepare for this newborn? You have to go out and get the crib. You have to go out and get the baby bottles. You get some diapers, but you have to prepare for it. So for me, anytime I think of, okay, well, I want wealth, I want a successful business. Okay, so how do I prepare for that? So I'm stepping into and standing in that energy right now because the baby's coming.
Yes. So let's see what baby's coming for me.
Is a baby coming, Carolyn?
No, I'm 58.
But it's not a literal baby.
Oh, no, I meant
it's just a new idea. It's a new life. And just by your laugh and your energy, I love to do this because, I love reading. I'm a third generation reader, but it's a game. It's fun. It's entertainment, right? So what words, what energy speaks? And so what I've been doing while we've been sitting here talking is shuffling the cards. The shuffling the cards does three things for me. Number one, it clears the past energy from any readings I've done before. It allows me to connect to your energy because I'm concentrating and I'm focusing on you. But it also is my signal to spirit that I'm getting ready to do a reading and I'm asking for clear signs and symbols that we will understand. Now, the other thing that I love to do, the game part, which makes it fun, since we're talking about having fun, is I love to say in my mind, okay, these cards are going to come out. Like I see these cards for Carol. So I don't always do that on the show, Carolyn, but we're going to do that on your show just to have some fun. You like that wiggle?
Yeah.
Just to have some fun. I see new energy, new life. Right? So the cards that always speak to me with new energy and new life. And remember, I said new energy and new life. So that may show up in other ways aside from just the cards, these two specific cards. But for some reason, I'm feeling the energy of aces. Aces. Have you had a reading before, Carolyn?
I haven't had a tarot reading in years. Actually, I had a tarot reading when I was in the middle of my dark night, and she's like, you're going through challenges. And I'm like, yeah, can you tell me when they're over? No, they don't let you know that. You have to go through it.
Well, with that said, no tarot reader is the same. My mom, who taught me how to read, says I do a do-it-yourself reading because I'm like, here's the cards, figure it out. Go Google it, get a message. That's what she says. But the reason I always give people the cards and I recommend that they write them down is because that's me wanting to make sure that I don't miss anything, right? Because something that means something to me, right? Something that means something to me. If you Google it, you might be like, oh, that's what it meant. That's not what Sharifa said, but that's what it meant. So I'm like, go Google it, go figure it out. The other thing that I do, I just have fun, right? I just have fun. So aces was what I was saying. I feel new energy, and the aces are very powerful. So I don't know what they were come up specifically, the Ace of Pentacles or the Ace of Cups, maybe Ace of Wands, because the Ace of Wands is about these haven't come up, Carolyn. Don't write these down.
Oh,
I'm just
think
making
it's
up stuff
good.
at this point. She's like, she's reading the cards and even reading the cards. But I see new life, new energy, because your energy right now is amazing. It's fantastic, which is the energy of creation. So there I see a lot of wands, a lot of pentacles. Your love life is good. There's no issues there. So
Yeah.
that means that I don't see a lot of cups. Your emotions are fine. So again, you don't have to focus on cups. Not a lot of swords, I don't think, because the swords are about thought, a lot of conflict, a lot of anxiety, a lot of fears. And I don't see any of that in your energy. But the lady wouldn't tell you when the dark night of the soul was going to be over, because everything in life is a decision. And that's what I always tell people. That's the number one question they ask. Well, when? I'm like, it can happen now. If you decide, it happens now. And I think that's one of the things we didn't really focus on in the actions, is just make a decision. Just choose. Just say, I am a winner. The great I am. I am a winner. And you know what winners do, Carolyn?
What?
They win.
Oh. No, you know what? One thing I did find, though, because when I was 18, my dad handed me a book and said, if I can teach you at 18 what I learned at 36, you'll be way ahead. So I've been reading like metaphysical, inspirational, spiritual, mindset, positivity books since I was 18. And when I was going through my dark night, I knew up here what I needed to do. But down here for a long time, it felt like I was slogging through mud. It was so hard. And I knew what to do. And it was just like going through the toughest part. And eventually it, kind of washed off and I got my groove back. But I was very aware of the process. But some of those archetypes that I grew up with needed to kind of take a back seat and let other ones shine. And it took a while for me, because like you said, somebody can do it in an instant. But for me, it took a hot minute, I say.
Yes. But even in that hot minute, and even if somebody can do it in an instant, there isn't anybody who can do everything in an instant. I mean, everybody has to go through whatever their grieving process is, whatever it is. And some things that will affect them on a minor scale, other things will just throw a person. So you have to go through it. So for me, that's the energy of the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups is about a man who's basically sitting by the water. His head is down. He's had a lot of loss. He has a lot of pain. But the beauty of it is that behind him, there's a lot of blue water. And water is always a symbol and a sign of renewal, right? And the sun is shining behind him. And even out of his 4 cups, none of the cups are spilled. There are especially 2 large cups in the sky behind him, which means that he doesn't see them. But there's also a town in behind him. So all of these things are happening behind him while he's sitting there with his head down. So what that means is at any point in time, he can look up, he can get up, he can choose to see what he has as opposed to what he has lost. But it takes time. So there's never any judgment on time, right? But time is a human concept. It just means that this is what we need to account for what we're going through. But if we make a decision and we decide, I'm going to lift my head up and look around and see what else comes up, then we move through that process at a faster pace. But we don't always have to move that fast. Sometimes, that to me is the energy of the 4 of Swords, right? So the 4 of Swords is my healing card. And in my healing card, it always reminds me, you see why my mom says I'm doing do-it-yourself kind of teaching kind of thing. Like I'm doing all this explaining. People like, I just want to read it. Just give me
No, actually, I love the explanation. I have all kinds of of cards that I bought. I love it when Hay House has a half price sale, and I
Yes.
buy a
Yes.
bunch of decks. So I have like an Angel Tarot card, and I have the
Yes.
Good Tarot by Clint Baron Reed, and then I have her famous Oracle card deck, and I have the Crystal deck, and I have I love, and every day I will, because I haven't taken a tarot class yet, which is why I'm
Okay.
fascinated with what you're teaching.
Okay.
And I usually shuffle one deck and I say, what's the message I need today?
Okay.
And then sometimes if I don't understand it, I'll pick another deck and I'll go, can you please explain that? Because I'm a puny human who doesn't understand. And I will shuffle and pull another card. And sometimes it clears it up. And sometimes I still don't get it. And I go, okay, well, I'll figure it out. I'll just go on my day.
No, that's beautiful. So I wanted to go back to the Four Swords. The Four Swords for me is my healing card, but it also is about, it stands for two things. For me, they say Oprah Winfrey has this expression where she says, most people, when they don't know what to do, they have to do something. She says, I don't do anything until I know what to do.
Oh.
So that to me is the energy of the Four of Swords, which says you've had pain in the Three of Swords. It's time for you to lay down and heal and practice the art of inaction. Because so often we like, I got to move, I got to do, I got, and maybe you're operating on an empty tank. So if you just rest and heal, then you can regain your energy. So I love what you were saying about the different decks. I love to know where people are with it. I do teach a tarot class. If you ever want to, I'll create one for you and I'll teach you my views and what I've learned. But the most important thing that I've ever said to any student is that unless you have a definition for each and every card, then I would not consider yourself a reader. Right? Because it's not about what that card means to Sharifa or what that card means to Carolyn. What does this card mean to you? Because you're asking for a sign, you're asking for a symbol. So if you don't know the symbol or sign that you're asking for, then how can it have any meaning to you? Tarot, the English language is made up of letters that make up words, that make up sentences, that make up paragraphs, that make up stories. Tarot is the same thing. Each card is a letter or a word that's going to make up this whole story. So all we're doing really is just finding out in Carolyn's story on December 17th of 2025, what is her story? Where is she in the story? And then we can adjust and modify, because we know that first of all, Carolyn's going to have some fun. That is a given. And then Carolyn's going to make a decision to have the best life ever. Bam, reading done. How would you think of your reading, Carolyn?
Thank you. I could have told you that, actually.
See, that's what I'm saying. You don't even need cards.
I know, but they're fun, which ties into me, because I just think, first of all, they're beautiful and I love the art.
Yes.
On the different, I don't have that artistry as one of my strengths. My daughter has that. She's going to university for illustration. She's the born artist. And I just admire all the skill and the art in these decks, the craftsmanship that I don't have. So even if I don't always understand it, I just appreciate what they are. And it's just, they're just so beautiful. Even the old-fashioned tarot, is it Rider Waite?
The Rider Waite.
I got it mixed up. Somebody had to draw all those.
Yes. This is why I read from the Arcanum Tarot, and this is why I got the deck. I fell in love with it. This is the Lover's card, and I just fell in love because I'm a hopeful, my friend taught me that word, hopeful romantic, as opposed to a hopeless romantic. I'm a hopeful romantic. And see, even in this card, the lovers, they are in love, but they can see each other. They're looking eye to eye. There's no deceit. There's no deception. So you just read into, what is it trying to say? What's the message, right? So the first card that we're going to pull for Carolyn is going to be your issue, which is your main thing. Out of everything that you're going through in your life, what is the most important thing? What is the main theme that's affecting you? And that is the Six of Pentacles. So the six, this is where we write this down, Carolyn.
Okay.
Write that down. So the Six of Pentacles is beautiful. It's a beautiful, 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 beautiful omen. I love omens. I love signs. I love symbols. The Six of Pentacles is my charity card, right? It's about giving. I think today in 2025, we often look at charity as, giving to the poor. It's not just about giving to the poor, because even in this example, the rich man gives let's just say the homeless man $1, right? So the homeless man now has $1. But see, the rich man understands money, he understands wealth, and he understands currency. And understanding currency, he understands that money has to flow, it has to go out. And so for whatever you are given, you will be blessed tenfold. So yes, the homeless man now has $1 more, but the rich man is going to get 10 more, or at least 9 more. So a total of 10 from what he originally had. So this, as your main issue, is beautiful, because it tells me that there will be shared resources, that there will be somebody who comes in and supports what you were doing. So being the main issue, I would look for and I would expect, we talked about that earlier, the expectation. Which one? Right? So which one is going to invest in my business? Which one is going to come in and write that check? Which one is going to say, I love what you're doing, let me support you, right? I like that for you. I see that for you. The other alternative is that you will invest in someone else. You will be the person who says, let me give here, let me do that, let me send Sharif for $50,000. I like that idea too. We're going to go with that. But shameless plug.
Hey, you
But
never know.
Hey, you know what I mean? It's about giving, right? And just expecting that gift that comes from nowhere, with no obligations, no returns. So that's wonderful. I told you, Pentacles are money, earth, the physical manifestation. When I was running for politics, one of the things I love to say when people would say, Sharifa, I believe in you, I support you. And I would say, yes, and I need the physical manifestation of your belief. You like that one?
I do like that one.
Physical manifestation. And that's what Pentacles are. And that's why it's a check. It's not a, let me pray for you. That's good. But pray and send the check. It's early in the morning, Carolyn.
No, this is the funnest reading I've ever had.
People always say that because I'm fun. I told you, you got to have fun. If you want to change lives and help people, it has to be fun. So over the Six of Pentacles, this is your main. Ooh, I don't know why I didn't see this for you, Carolyn. The Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune is a major arcana card, right? So major arcana cards are major life lessons. Major life lessons are things that change the course of history, right? These are your births. These are your divorces. These are your deaths. These are your marriages. These are things where history will not be the same. Minor arcana cards are minor life lessons. These are things that affect the day, right? You may win a coffee mug. Oh, I won. 20 years from now, you ain't gonna remember that coffee mug. You might remember that, 20-day stay to Bermuda. I don't know where I got Bermuda from, Costa Rica, whatever. But minor arcana cards are things that just affect you. It could be you were walking down the street, it's raining, and the car splashed your pants. Oh my God, my pants got wet. But life goes on, right? So major arcana cards like the wheel are lessons that the fool learns along his journey. That's why tarot is called the fool's journey, because there's an expression that says there are two people, there's an expression that says God protects fools and infants, because fools and infants are the only two people that don't think they know everything. So in life, being open, asking which one. I love that. Thank you for gifting me with that. That was the gift you gave to me. Which one, right? So the wheel of fortune talks about luck. It talks about destiny, right? But one of the most important things about the wheel is that these things, whether they are good or bad, are really out of your control, which again works
Yeah.
with the Six of Pentacles in that these are just, somebody is like, you know what? Here's some money. You're like, you can't make them give it to you. You can't force
Right.
them. It's like you just win.
Yeah. And you don't know. You just have to be patient and wait for that call.
Yes. Yes. But
or
it's
email
coming.
or however they contact you.
Yes. And the wheel is cyclical. The wheel is always turning and churning. So just like when you talked about that dark night of the soul, that depth that you went down, this is about the depth that you're going up. It's that skyrocketing. That's gonna be my skyrocket from now on. The wheel is the skyrocket.
It's
Everything
good,
is
right?
about the skyrocket for you. And we saw that. So yes. What it appears to be, did I talk it up? The Four of Cups.
You can't make this stuff up, as they say.
I say that all the time. So we wanted a visual example of the Four of Cups. So in this deck, it's a woman and she's sad, but look how beautiful her cups are. I mean, the cups are glowing. She even has a cup coming down from the heavens. But does she care? No. Because she's sitting there. I'm telling you, this is, I'm gonna call this the missing that man card. Like she's just like, where is he? I want love. I want to get married. And it's like, but the cup is coming from heaven. You don't even care. But the cool thing, especially in your reading, is that this appears in the what it appears to be, what it looks like. It's not really what it is, but it's just, maybe there is some, maybe there is some apathy, some, thinking back. But this is what it really is. The Queen of Swords. Is that your card? That's you?
I'm the contest queen.
Yes.
Of course. It's the queen.
Yes. Any entrepreneur where I receive the Queen of Swords, I always see that as a businesswoman, not necessarily in as far as the money, but the Queen of Swords is about intellect. She knows what she knows, and she knows that she knows. So that's beautiful, especially when you want to teach somebody how to, right? And it may seem simple to say how to win, but so often when we know how to do a skill, we're like, who am I to teach other people? That imposter syndrome sometimes sets in, right? But the Queen of Swords knows her craft. She didn't just start her craft in 2025. I love the examples of how you spoke about who you work with, how you got to where you were, right? So the Queen of Swords is not somebody who's trying to figure it out, because the court cards go from the page, and the page's energy is someone who's about 13 to 16, right? The pages before cell phones, the pages were the king's messengers. That's what happened. The pages delivered messages, right? Because they didn't have cell phones, and the king was not about to walk. That is not what the kings do. The king, I always ask that question. Like, I ask people, what is the king's job? And they're like, to rule the kingdom. I'm like, yeah, but he does that from the throne. Like, he does that without moving, right? So the pages always deliver. You can't laugh during readings. I think no, I'm just kidding.
No, I just think I can just envision it. Like the king is just sitting there, like I can see this poor page just running around like a little chicken with his head cut off, doing all the stuff
because he knows if he doesn't go, he's going to get his head cut off.
Yeah, it's got to go quick because the king wants whatever he wants.
Yes, and then he gets back, and the king doesn't want that anymore. So now he has to go over there to get something else for the king. That's a life, right? But that's a kid who's about 13 to 16.
Yeah.
Then you have the knights. Knights for me are the energy of someone who's 21 to 25. I consider this somebody who just graduated university, right? Just graduated college. And when you graduate, you 25, you think you know everything, only to realize you don't know anything. Like you have the book knowledge, but you don't have a lot of life experience. So I was teaching a class of college students who wanted to learn to row, bunch of girls, right? So they got a group together. We're going to do this class. And I said, the first thing that you have to understand is that your definitions will evolve over time.
Yes.
As your experience evolves, so will your readings, right? Because how can you talk somebody through a divorce when you've never been on a date?
Exactly.
How can you help someone with their career if you've never held a job? So a lot of it comes down to experience, which is why the queen and the king are so powerful, because they've been there, they've done that. They're not like the knight trying to prove themselves. They're not going out to battle. They've been to battle. They've already got their kingdom. They've, you know, and the difference between the queen and the king is really just the masculine and the feminine energy. The queen is more maternal, right? The only acknowledgement that I always say when I see the queen or the king of swords is that their intellect is so sharp. They're the kind of people who, and it's kind of what we were talking about earlier, is the people looking for me. I thought that was on silent. It's 7 o'clock. That's what happened. I'm supposed to be done by now. Carolyn got me talking on this show.
I'm sorry.
I'm 2 minutes over. Carolyn. That's why I start early in the morning. You see, I'm blaming you for this one. But
I will take all the blame. I'm okay.
They know, right? And because you can see it so quickly and you see it so clearly, I think that's when we were talking about the grumpy people. We're like, how can they be grumpy? And they don't know. They don't know that if they change their perception and they change their reality, then they will win. They don't know, right? But the Queen of Swords knows. So my recommendation and my suggestion is always, in your knowing, have heart. You know what I mean? Have compassion, have empathy for the people, because it takes you 2 seconds to get it. And them, it's going to take those people 40 years. That's why they was wandering around the desert. Carolyn comes and she's like, you could have just went this way. That's my only recommendation. Don't add "hey stupid" at the end is all I'm asking. Okay.
That's so funny. But again, we're supposed to have fun with this stuff.
Absolutely. So your past energy, I have the 5 of Swords. So I got more swords, 2 swords than I was expecting. But the 5 of Swords is always, 5s are always your halfway mark. When you think about the minor arcana cards on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being completion, 0 being the beginning, 5 is always the halfway point. And because you're at the halfway point, that's the point where most people give up. That's the point where people are like, oh my God, I can't do this. That's the point when it has any type of conflicts and disagreements. So the 5 of Swords is about petty conflicts and petty disagreements in the past. I always see this definitely with very successful people, right? Not only successful people as far as wealth, but successful people who have recreated themselves, right? Because I always think about it like 2 lawyers who get married, right? So they are living their best life. They are, would you say, Kelly?
Oh no. Because lawyers bicker?
I don't know. But I don't know. Maybe they do. They love to debate. They love to argue. But then one of the lawyers wakes up one day and they're like, I want to be a ballerina. And then the other person is like, but I didn't marry a ballerina. I married a lawyer, right? So often when we recreate ourselves for whatever new direction we want to go on. And again, I see a lot of new energy, new challenges, new birth, new ideas. Everybody around you doesn't always like the new you because they were comfortable with the old you. That was who they resonated with. So again, that energy is from the past. That happened in the past. That's not your present energy. That's not what's going on. But there was some conflict, maybe with the husband. I don't know. But that happened in the past because your present energy, what are we doing here, Carolyn? Is the 5 of Cups.
What?
So there was some loss. There was some pain. I guess this is the one I was talking about. The man with his head down, blue water. Isn't that water blue?
It is. It is
But
blue.
he has 2 cups behind him. This one doesn't show the town in it, but he's like, oh my God, what happened? Carolyn, what is it? What is it you're not telling us, Carolyn?
Well, like I said, I'm focusing on 10xing my business, but Helene Hadsell said, no bragging before bagging. Because people will give you the stink eye.
Is that the stink eye card from now on?
So I'm just waiting to see. I've got a lot of irons in the fire, and I'm waiting to see which one strikes.
Which ones?
Which one?
Because you got 2 5s, which means, again, halfway point. Halfway. You halfway there. But I always tell people that the cards are not always only about that card. It's about the card that's prior, the card that's after it, right? Because it's telling a story. And so, again, I think the 5 of Cups for me, especially in this reading, is about what we talked about earlier. At some point, he looks up. At some point, because after the 5 of, because I'm like, what is going on with Carolyn? Is because after the 5 of Cups is the 6 of Cups, right? So the 6 of Cups is about nostalgia, right? So when his head is down and he's in this moment, what he's doing is he's thinking. He's thinking about what he has. He's thinking about what he had. He's thinking about a lot of different things. And at some point, he lifts his head and he makes a decision. Again, that key word, even though there's not a lot of swords, that word keeps coming back. It's a choice. It's a decision. It's deciding, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to make happen. And then people will come in to support you in what you decide that you want to do. Because how you see yourself, thank you. Come back to me. Come back. Because I knew I felt the energy. Because how you see yourself is the world.
Wow.
And the world is very positive. The world is completion, right? So in the major arcana, with the Fool's journey through the major arcana, the world ends it. That means that whatever cycle you've been on, it's over, it's complete, it's done. But after that completion is new beginnings. So you have to start again. The past is gone. The past is over. What do you look forward to now? What is it that you want to create? What is it that you want to envision? Because again, he was down, but now he looks up and said, okay, I want a new life. What is that new life I want to create? Oh, see, I knew it was coming. I'd be talking to the people. Because how other people see you is the 10 of Pentacles.
Of course.
The 10 of Pentacles. That's Pentacles. I told you I saw some Pentacles. Physical manifestation. But the beauty of the 10 of Pentacles for me is generational wealth, right? It's legacy. Because in the 9 of Pentacles, she has enough. She has enough for her. She has enough for her to do what she needed to do. She had enough to be comfortable. But in the 10 of Pentacles, in most decks, it shows the man, the woman, the children, even the dog. It means that there's more than enough. This is the overflow card. So it's not just enough for today. It's enough for years to come. So there is no financial worry. There is no lack or limitations, as they say. Because then, ooh, look at Carolyn. There you go. Come on home. So the next card that you have is the 4 of Wands.
Wow.
And the 4 of Wands is celebration. It's to celebrate good times. I would sing the song, but you don't want to hear that early in the morning. But
I was not gifted with the singing voice either. Like, don't take me to karaoke.
Oh, I love karaoke though. When you try to get me to
I love
sing,
it. I don't have I was not gifted with a tone.
Oh, I'm not either, but a little tequila and hey, karaoke is a lot of fun, you know. But it's the celebrate good times. The Four of Wands is about those receptions. It's about people getting together. These are these parties. This is really truly getting together and celebrating the win. So that's good. I didn't see the sun or I didn't see any aces, but I did see the world, which again is completion. And after completion, you have to start a new life. So that is a new beginning. You got the 10 of Pentacles, you got the wheel. So there's a lot of change in the air, but you have to be open to it. You have to see it, right? So we started your issue with the 6 of Pentacles, which is again, giving money, giving. But the final outcome is my, okay, Sharifa, you've been rambling. You done went around the mulberry bush and back again. But at the end of the day, what is it that Carolyn needs to know on her path, her current path, where she is right now? Woo! I wasn't expecting that. Final outcome is the devil.
Well, devil, the card is I'm a triple Capricorn. And the devil, isn't the devil the Capricorn card?
Yes. So the devil card is a major arcana card, and that's a major life lesson. And the devil card is not a bad card because there are no bad cards, because there are no good cards. It's just life. It's just a reflection, right? So on your current path. And so the devil, it to me is always about our choices and our decisions, right? It's about what is it that we decide to do. And sometimes we are held to, or we feel and we believe that we are trapped in a situation, that we have no choice in this situation. But there's an expression that I was raised with where it says, the devil says, I only call. It is up to them to answer. So you can't really see it in this card, but even in this card, there are two people at the bottom, and the two people are being held. I mean, they have ropes, but they can get out of them. They can break loose. They're not chained. They're not there by force. They're there by choice because they are enjoying, and some part of them, this aspect of whatever it is that they are doing. So some people, certain readers read it more as overindulgence, but I personally, I always read it as a choice. You make a choice. What choices do you want? Because I believe, and what I'm feeling, especially with that card, is that you said that you had different irons in the fire, right? Irons for me always represent, obviously, choices, right? So there are choices that you can make. There are choices that have to be made, but we always want to make sure that we make these choices from our highest good, from our highest what they call that, our higher self.
Yeah,
right. So I would definitely meditate on all of these choices and see what comes to you from your higher self, because what I'm feeling is that whatever choices you are looking at, or whatever choices you are feeling, there's other choices that are not on the table. That's what's coming through to me strongly, that there are other choices that are not on the table, that there are resources that you have not yet tapped into. So if you're meditating, all of a sudden there will be an urge to make an action, to do something, to reach out to call, or through this meditation, you connect energetically with someone who will reach out to you, and you get a call out the blue from someone, and they're like, hey, I was thinking about you. So if you get that call, just remember Sharifa said, hey, I was thinking about you. And through this reunion, through this connection, it will open other doors, right? Because and it's so weird that that's what I'm feeling, that's what's coming through, and I'm thinking to myself, with Sharifa, that has nothing to do with the devil. And I'm like, okay, then that's weird. But the way I'm seeing that is that so often when we feel like our choices are limited, we go back to it. To me, this is not you, I'm just giving you a dramatic example, right? They say abused people sometimes take 8 to 9 times before they can leave, especially when they are tied to different resources, right? They go, I can't go anywhere. I have nowhere to go. I don't know how to support myself. And we know that's not you. Your world is changing. Your luck is changing. You don't have to go back to anything that doesn't benefit you, right? But there are resources and there are people who will come in to help you and benefit you. And these are people that you may not have ever even thought of. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think it's going to cascade. I've had this happen before where something happened. Mm-hmm. And then all these other doors open that I didn't expect. So I think it's going to be the same thing. You know, one resource will come through or one iron will strike, and then it'll cascade or domino into other things that like you said, the resources I couldn't see.
Yes, that's definitely what I see. But don't hold on to anything that you feel is not for your highest good. I almost feel the energy of the high priestess, which is the feminine intuition. But when I'm seeing the high priestess, it's taking me back to the Queen of Swords, which is again saying that you will know, like you will know in every interaction. You can almost see it visually. Like if you do a meditation and you're looking at 6 irons on the fire, right? Energetically, you can look at that iron and say, what's the energy of this one? What's the energy of that one? And only stay with the ones that have white light energy, because there may be some where you're like, okay, that may be a lesson, but I don't want to learn that lesson today. Or I've already learned that lesson, so I can release it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I felt that in the past when I had something, you know, sometimes the universe will test you again to make sure, like, are you sure you're done with that? And you go, yes, I am.
Yes. Yes. That's definitely.
And then things shift right away because you realize, yeah, that pattern is done.
Yes. And I think that's what the devil energy is about patterns. You know what I mean? And we fall into certain patterns based on habit, based on what we've done in the past, based on what we're used to. And then another thing is sometimes people do call us, you know, and we're like, and they want us to go back down that same road. And we're like, oh no, I've learned that lesson. I'm moving forward, right? And that's what the Queen of Swords does. She definitely knows. She knows what energy she wants to operate under. Because again, let's get back to the 10 of Pentacles. The 10 of Pentacles is generational wealth. The Wheel of Fortune is luck that changes, destiny. It's funny and interesting that we're talking about luck, but I don't believe in luck at all. I don't call it luck. I just think I believe in destiny. I think in divine timing and divine order. But when everything's in alignment, there's this shift and all of a sudden we skyrocket.
Yes, that's what I'm working on.
It's going to happen for you. It's going to happen for you.
That's called pronoia. The Rob Brenzi teaches this. He wrote a book called Pronoia. Because if you're paranoid, you think everything's out to get you. But if you're proanoid, everything is happening for you.
Yes. And that's where we are. Now, I love it. This is so beautiful. Thank you for allowing me to read for you. We are coming down we passed the last few seconds of the show. We didn't moved over, but the last few seconds that we have, I love to allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who is watching this show live, as well as everyone who is watching in the archives, and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance here today.
Oh, thank you so much. What I want to tell people is you don't know what's going to happen. And everybody is, when they think of something, they always think worst case scenario. But I want you to be paranoid and always think best case scenario. Because if you don't know what's going to happen, it's not necessarily negative. you could win a big prize. You could get that job. You could meet the love of your life. You don't know what's going to happen. So just always assume the best instead of the worst. Think about how your day is going to go when you always assume that everything works out for you. I love that.
And where can people find you?
Well, I wear 3 crowns. As the contest queen, I teach people how to find, organize, enter, and win sweepstakes contests and giveaways. And that's at contestqueen.com. And Idea Majesty, which is where I do my sweepstakes marketing, and Words for Winning is where I have all my books. And I share lost works with people. And it's where you basically can learn about positive thinking and metaphysical ideas and see videos like this, because I'm going to share it on my website there.
Well, Miss Carolyn, I want to thank you for being a guest on today's episode of Read Me Live. It was a lot of fun. And if you're watching the show and you want to be a guest, visit my website at readmelive.com. Until next time, everyone have a safe and a blessed day. Bye now.